I'm Kyle Meredith, and welcome to Kyle Meredith with an ongoing interview series presented by 91.9 WFPK in Louisville, Kentucky, and Consequence of Sound. Today, my guest is the legendary Joan Armatrading, who's back with a new record called Not Too Far Away. We get to talk about the challenges of trying to find new ways to write about themes like love. And especially speaking of themes, her last 3 records have been thematic. This time, it's a little bit different. It's all coming up with Joan Armatrading.
Kyle, hi, it's Joan Armatrading.
How are you?
Very good, thanks very much.
Well, Not Too Far Away. I've only had about an hour to digest the whole record, but man, what a lovely, gorgeous album that you've created. It's just incredible.
Thank you very much. I have to admit I like it myself.
I sure hope so. I do. I mean, so 21 albums in, now 21 is what I think the official count is at the moment. Do you find the challenge in finding new ways to tell these stories, especially in love songs, which, is one of what you're known for?
Yeah. No. I said no very quickly, and now I'm thinking, should I have said maybe? Well, the thing is, you're always meeting different people, new people. Everybody has a different way of looking at things. One of the things I like to tell a lot is that one day I was on the train, and a bunch of young girls were on the train, and they were all giggly and all excited. But this one particular girl was the one who had them all kind of laughing and everything, because she just discovered olives. And she was talking about how these olives were incredible, and you can believe olives existed. And I was just fascinated because, I know olives. Right. I got excited about olives years ago. And she's just discovering olives. And it was this great fascination for her. And that's really what it's like when you talk about, people's experience of lots of different things. People are coming to things at different times, and they're expressing themselves, sometimes in very similar ways, but in their own unique way. So when you look at how people fall in love, or when you look at how people communicate with each other because they like somebody, it's always slightly different. And I'm looking at these different things, and I'm thinking, well, that's okay. I wrote a love song about that, but this is saying something else. So.
There's a line in your most recent press release that says, you take the deeply personal and you make it universal. I mean, that's the trick, right?
I don't know if it's a trick, but it's how it is, because it's as I say, we're all going through very similar things. We will express it in different ways. We will feel it in different ways, but we are all experiencing very similar things. So if I'm able to put the words together that allow people to be able to identify this similar thing, then it works. Because, if I go to Japan, or if I go to Australia, if I go to Germany, if I go to Switzerland, if I'm in America, if I sing a certain song, the reaction to that song tends to be exactly the same in those places, because the expression in the song is like people can relate to. So as a songwriter, that's what you want to do. You want to be able to allow people to express themselves through this music.
Yeah, and going into this, I mean, your last few records had been thematic. I don't know if you had an idea going into this, but was it freeing without the parameters?
The way I usually write is whatever happens. Sometimes the words come first, sometimes music first, sometimes both together. If I feel like playing it on the piano, I'll play it. If I feel like playing it on the guitar, it's whatever happens. I don't tend to kind of formalize it before I begin. That's my normal way of writing. When I decided to do the trilogy, which was blues, rock, jazz, that was a very disciplined thing. So the first one was the blues, Into the Blues. I had to kind of rein myself in. If I was writing something and I thought, it'd be quite nice to do a jazzy thing here. No, I had to make sure I stayed with the blues. Same with the rock, same with the jazz. I had to just make sure I was disciplined and kept to the thing that I wanted to keep to. And this one was similar in that I decided that I would write all the words first. Oh. Never written an album where I wrote all the words first. And I wanted to write the words first because I actually really wanted people to listen to the words and to get the emotion of the words. And I felt that if I got the words right, the music would fall into place, which to me seems to be what's happened.
Yeah.
So I spent my time and my efforts just really, making sure that what I wanted to say was being said.
With the way a song, it might be about one thing. It might be about a relationship, love, as we're talking about. But in certain times, that same thing can feel very reflective of what's happening outside. And, I follow you online and I know that you're seeing all the same things we're all seeing. And was that part of the filter with those words?
Everything is part of the filter. It's what I'm seeing friends go through. It's what I'm seeing the world go through. It's what I'm reading in the paper. It's kind of all around us. We're in a certain time, and I was. This might sound so pretentious, and I don't mean it to be, but I was sort of hoping that when I wrote the words, it would reach out to people and they would want to identify with those words and they would want to use those words, as I said, to express themselves and to have it express something to them, So that's really what I was trying to do. I'm not trying to be deep, but I really wanted it to be meaningful.
Yeah, I mean, the first song that we see, even the title alone, No More Pain. I mean, that says so much, even before the song starts.
Yeah. And that pain is not necessarily a physical, I've cut my hand pain. Mm-hmm. It's whatever this ailment is. It's the pain of losing somebody. It's the pain of finding somebody. Because sometimes that finding somebody can be quite painful if you found them and they don't find you. That can be pretty painful. So there's all kinds of areas. It could be just your business area, where you're in a certain kind of business and things are not going well for you. That can be a pain that can cut quite deep. It covers all kinds of things. And what the song is saying, at a certain point, you must decide who is in charge of these feelings. Is it the object that's going to make you feel, or is it you? You're in charge of yourself, and at some point you're able to say, okay, that's it. I've had enough. I don't actually want to be in this situation. And it's certainly in my head, I don't want to be in this situation. I want to free myself up, and I'll be the one to say, that's enough.
Well, I got to tell you, the very first listen on that song, it became one of my favorite songs of this year. Just completely in love with it.
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Thank you.
I still want to stick with the bigger topics for just a second, because someone pointed out online as I was researching that you rarely used gender in your songs. And I was wondering if you consciously did that through your career and the rest of the world is finally catching up with the topics there.
Yes, because I want, it kind of just repeating myself, I want people to identify with the songs. And sometimes if you say he, she, boy, girl, man, whatever, if you say that, then it limits the song to that person. And I wrote a song called The Weakness in Me, but the amount of men and women that have come to me and said, oh, that song just describes this thing that I've been going through, this painful breakup and this who am I going to choose thing. Men and women will come and say that to me. So sometimes there was a song, what's that song? Dust My Blues, Dust My Broom. And the song is talking about the chap and the woman, and and I thought, oh, I like that song, but how do I sing that? I mean, I don't really do cover songs, but I was thinking, how would I sing that? Because I'd have to work out how to not say he, she. I was just kind of experimenting and thinking, well, how would I have written those lyrics so that it can relate to anybody? Because sometimes as soon as you identify that gender, you're kind of you've excluded a few people.
Well, again, I do think this is a beautiful record. I do read that you do everything on the record. That's more solo than anyone, right? Like, this is an actual solo record.
Well, since 2003, I've been doing that. Lovers Speak, Into the Blues, This Charming Life, Starlight, this album, they're all just me. On the trilogy, on Into the Blues and This Charming Life, I used a drummer, but I played everything. And then Starlight, I decided to program the drums myself. So I did that. So that really was just me. And then this one is really just me because I programmed the drums on this one as well. So I'm playing everything. I produced it. I engineered it. Wrote everything, sang everything, just to show off.
Just to show off. Well, that can be dangerous for some artists because that it can start to lose whatever. And focus isn't the right thing because I think maybe it has ultimate focus. But these songs, I mean, they're still so concise and so well constructed that it seems like you never lost the plot of the entire thing. And that's so impressive.
Well, thank you. I didn't want to lose the plot. I didn't want to lose the plot. I wanted to write these songs.
Well, I love listening to them. There's so many fun moments in this. I did make a note how much fun Invisible was to hear because it has that great guitar groove going on, and that little play. Yeah. It's some cool stuff.
Yeah. I really like that song. I love everything that you said, actually. I love the guitar bits. I love the solo. And I kind of talk it and then I sing. And it's got those kind of quirky rhythms going on there. And the album, I think, has a theme, if you like, of acousticness, but at the same time it kind of rocks along. And Invisible is a great example of that. It's all acoustic sounding, but it's still really moving.
Joan, I'm again so honored to have this conversation. Thank you so much for talking today, and I look forward to the release, May 18th, right?
May 18th. Yep.
All right. Well, it's certainly a pleasure.
So, thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well. I can't wait to see how people respond to the songs. I'm quite excited about it.
Well, you can at least count me as positive. That's one down.
Excellent.
One down.
One down. Excellent.
All right. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks again to the legendary Joan Armatrading for giving me a call. The new record is not too far away. Don't forget to subscribe to Consequence of Sound's YouTube channel to keep up with your favorite artists and interviews, and head over to WFPK.org for all your music listening needs. I'm Kyle Meredith, and I'll see you next time.